councilman up to speak, and it's his first district it's his first, Councilman Al-Salinas III. This is his first mayor's night as a councilman. So let's introduce your new councilman, Al-Salinas III.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out here tonight. I'd like to start by just listing a few of our largest projects that we have going on in our 2nd district. We have the Homan Avenue $6.5 million project that's currently going on. Homan Avenue is experiencing a full closure. Road work resumed last week. That project has a completion date of the middle of June. Another project we have going on is the Summer Street $14 million project. That's a complete road reconstruction, which includes new sanitary sewers, new storm sewers, and new water mains. The completion date is before the end of 2024. I'm confident that this project will resolve flooding issues that Sherman and Summer Streets have experienced in the past. We also have a $35 million investment by the company Meats by Linz. It's a new 120,000 square foot facility that's set for completion this summer. With that investment comes the creation of 300 new jobs. This is just one of several upcoming projects brought to us by the Economic Development Department and their director, Juan Moreno. I'd like to make mention that I'm currently in the process of submitting a list of ornamental lights that require replacement to the Public Works Department. I'm actively researching light issues, complaints, to find possible solutions. I've noticed several areas that could use additional lighting. For instance, right outside this school is one of the darkest areas that we have here on Oak Avenue. Also, Kane Street is a very dark block. I've been made aware of alleys flooding, curbs that need repair, trees that need trimming, abandoned vehicles, graffiti, and illegal dumpings. I want to say thanks to everyone that has made phone calls, sent me emails or texts. I take the time to respond to each and every complaint. The illegal dumpings, we have a lot of them underneath the underpasses, a lot under the bridges, but I've worked in conjunction with the Public Works Department, with Felix, Rhonda, our 2nd District Supervisor, Juan Serrano, and they put together teams of employees to come out and clean up these areas in a timely fashion, so thank you to the Board of Public Works. Our graffiti removal program has been stellar. We had a rash of graffiti through the area, not just under the bridges, but behind garages. We also had a church just south of here, was completely tagged. The graffiti removal came out, cleaned it up right away. So thank you to the program. Our abandoned vehicles remain one of our biggest complaints throughout the district, my block included. I want to ask everyone for just additional patience. I know we have Lieutenant Mickey working hard with her Community Affairs Division, and I'm excited to see what the coming months bring for everyone. Also, special thank yous to Code Enforcer Richard Castro. He's always out and about throughout the district, making sure everyone's in compliance. And to Jack Smith, our sewer department head, who repaired an area on Columbia and Michigan near Columbia Park. It was a dip in the road. I mentioned it to him a few months back. As soon as we had a few days of nice weather, he had his crew out there busting up the road and bringing it back up to the proper level. So thank you, Jack. Last summer, my team and we completed 8 neighborhood cleanups throughout our district. With the continued support from the Public Works Department, I'm pleased to announce that we're only going to need maybe 4 or 5 this summer to maintain certain areas. If you or a neighbor know of an area that requires cleanup, please reach out to me and make me aware. I don't mind coming out, assessing the area, adding it to our list. The list of cleanup location, dates, and times will be released next month. I'm in coordination with the College Bound Program Director, Sharon Daniels, as well, to add these cleanups to our College Bound program so that we can also receive support from the students. And it's a win-win situation because they also complete some of their hours that are required to receive their tuition. Just a couple of announcements that I also have. The City of Hammond is seeking input from residents and motorists to complete a survey. The survey is listed on social media and the Go Hammond website. The purpose of the survey is to collect data to improve safety on our streets. I encourage everyone to take the time to offer their suggestions. We also have the Walkable USA public screening documentary taking place at the Indiana Welcome Center on April 3rd at 6 p.m. That's basically our downtown Hammond vision through the eyes of city planner Jeff Speck. Another item I'd like to mention is my second annual Easter egg hunt that's taking place Saturday at Columbia Park. The event will begin at 12 o'clock noon sharp. It's for children ages 12 and under. We'll have the Easter Bunny on hand, and those that are lucky enough to find a golden egg will receive Easter baskets and various recreational balls handed out by our Hammond firefighters. We have a few sponsors for that Easter egg hunt event that I'd like to list. The first being La Hacienda Azteca Mexican Restaurant. Currently, that's one of our most popular restaurants in the area. I know they're undergoing an expansion right now, and we will be having a coordinated ribbon cutting ceremony with the Economic Development Department coming up soon for La Hacienda Azteca. Another sponsor is El Taco Real. Everyone knows El Taco Real as a community favorite for many years. We have McCoy & Sons Towing and Walmart Supercenter. Finally, I'd like to just remind everyone that Hammond 2nd District is home to some of the best restaurants throughout the city. So please, if you have time with your family or you're deciding where to go eat, check one of them out. We've got Bob Shrimp, we've got Don Andreas, we've got Potato Express, Fat Sam's got great chicken tenders, and we have M&H Food Truck as well. So thank you all again for coming out, and we're going to continue to hit the ground running. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilman Al made me hungry. I don't know. Love new councilman. Tons of energy. So it's great to see you. Councilman Al hit the ground running, and we were just in a meeting just this last week in City Hall with two other councilmen talking about what's going to happen with the old St. Margaret Mercy site, and Councilman Al has a lot of great ideas. So appreciate you and your insight. So let's go ahead and introduce the department heads. This is Alex. Alex is the office manager for the mayor's office, and I got Eileen, who's a special events coordinator. They're going to be in the audience with the microphone. Microphone's not for me. I have great hearing, and you're probably loud enough. I could hear you. Microphone's for TV, okay? So just bear with it when they put a microphone in your face, it's so Go Hammond TV could hear you, okay? All right, let's go ahead and start.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Mark McLaughlin, Water.
Megan Moore, City Controller.
Jim Talon, Park Department.
Juan J. Moreno, Economic Development. Bernie Grizzlia, Hammond Fire.
William Short, Hammond Police.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Mylon Krasinski, Sanitary District.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Kevin Smith, Law Department.
Ron Novak, Environmental.
Ann Taylor, Planning and Development.
Nicole Sullivan, Port Authority.
Tom Novak, City Planning.
Chris Sakalaris, Legal Aid Clinic.
Owana Miller, Community Development.
Andrea Lewis, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Felix Gonzalez, Public Works.
Nicholas Farrell, Code Enforcement.
Kelly Kearney, Inspections Department.
All right, thanks everybody. And again, Jessica's over here. Jessica and Christy, where's Christy? They're over there. They have the questionnaires if you want to fill out a written question and turn it into them. You don't have to put your name on it. We ask for your information only so we could follow it up with you. If you don't put your name, we'll still read it off, okay? Sometimes you give us like War and Peace on paper. We're not going to read it off if it's War and Peace. We'll read off like nice, concise questions. Sometimes you have presentations and pictures, and I get that. It's hard to go through that live on the air, live at Mayor's Night. We will take your pictures and we'll follow it up afterwards, okay? So if you could like summarize it to a question so that we can answer it. If it's a presentation, we will accept the pictures and we'll give it to the appropriate department head and we'll try to follow it up that way, okay? All right, so everybody's introduced. I wanted to start off real quick and congratulate somebody in the audience that should be sitting up here because I think technically he's still working, but he's a short timer. It's our fire chief. Fire chief for, how long have you been the fire chief for me, Jeff? 12 and a half years, which is extremely long for a fire chief. Jeff has been one of the longest serving fire chiefs in Hammond's history. He has been a Hammond firefighter for 32 years, and he's retiring in a few short weeks. So his replacement, the new fire chief, is up here, Bernie Grisolia. Let's give it up for Bernie, the new fire chief for the city. And Jeff, could you stand up? Let's give it up for Jeff Smith, Hammond's departing fire chief. So. He's got a new venture. He's got a restaurant right up there in Robertstown. If you want to come by, he's out there serving pizza and great. Why don't you say a couple things about your restaurant, Jeff? Yeah. And beer. Nice. So firefighters know how to cook really well too. So I suggest you stop by. So thanks, Jeff. Congratulations on 32 years. Thank you for serving Hammond firefighters. So let's go ahead and get started. I know we have a few questions. I got a couple things I want to talk about as well, so we're going to have a really good meeting. I'm excited. Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Mayor. When and how will the lead pipes, the water lead pipes, be repaired for homes in Hammond? Is there a list that a resident needs to get on?
Oh, good question. Hammond Water Department's represented today by Mark McLaughlin. Mark, where are you? Where's it? Hi, me. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Bam, like right off the bat, home run question. This is a big issue right now. You're reading about it in a lot of local papers. Hammond's an old city, so we do have our fair share of lead lines in the city. The good news, I'm a layman, so keep in mind I'm giving you layman's opinion here. But I've learned a lot about the water department since I've been your mayor. I learned a lot about what happened in Flint, Michigan, with the lead lines in Flint, Michigan, and how that came to be. And I know that things in Hammond and any other place where you get lake water like we do were much safer than they were in Flint, because Flint uses a different source of water, which is river water. In this case, they were using river water. Even though lake water was available, it was a cost move. They switched their sources of water to the river water. I don't remember which river it is that's over there that feeds into them. And the salinity of this water was enough of a difference. There's a microscopic film inside all of our water lines. This film, I think, is promoted by some chemical that's inside the water, but that film is microscopic, and it saves all of us from lead and leaching into the water. That little microscopic film layer. When they switched sources from Lake Michigan water to river water in Flint, it changed the salinity of the water, and it ate away at that microscopic layer, and it started leaching lead into the water, which is how Flint, Michigan happened. Now, we do have lead lines in Hammond. To replace all the lead lines in the city of Hammond would be, I don't know, I'm just estimating, hundreds of millions of dollars. So obviously this is nothing that we're gonna be able to do right away. And federal government is mandating that we switch out of the lead lines and into, more of I think it's a plastic. Mark, am I doing this any justice now?
Yes.
Mark's the CEO of the Hammond Water Company, and I know that him and Jaime have been working hard on this issue.
Yes, we monitor. EPA and IDEM require us to monitor for lead every month. We do. We've never exceeded what is their considered safe level, but we are starting a lead line replacement program anyway. It actually is starting with 150 homes in this neighborhood.
I saw something in the last water board meeting minutes that I just read yesterday, funny enough, about this issue. And literally, I think it was the last meeting you had, you took a loan, a low interest loan from the state of Indiana to facilitate the first 150, correct?
Yes, yeah, this will be it's a pilot project. It's a partnership with IDEM and Indiana Finance Authority and the EPA. And we chose this neighborhood just because it was of the demographics and the concentration of lead lines. And so we'll do 150 lead lines, and that will kind of set a benchmark, so then we can proceed from there. But in the meantime, and also my house has a lead line.
My house does not, but funny enough, Mark and I live in the same neighborhood. Mark's house was built probably in the 50s.
49.
49. My house was built in the 80s. If your house is a newer house, you probably don't have lead lines. Like my house was built in, I think, 1982. I don't have lead lines. Mark's house was built in the 50s, lead lines. So if your house was an old house, you probably do have lead lines, and you've had lead lines the whole time you lived there. Now, the federal government is starting to push this mandate, and it's going to hit a city like Hammond hard, and this is something we're going to be talking about a lot over the next decade or two. That's the kind of project we're talking about. However, I do want to pass to Dean. He's our city engineer. Before I come back to you, Mark, because I talked to you about this microscopic layer that saves us all from leaching into our water. I don't know what that microscopic layer is called. I don't know what we do to promote that layer, but we do have that, correct? I'm not making this up.
That's all true, Mayor. The water department adds a product called orthophosphate, which is it precipitates or it lands on the inside and creates a film inside the pipe that is a protective barrier between the lead that's contained in the pipe and the water, so it doesn't leach out of the piping.
So let me ask you a question. So that whole story I said about how Flint, Michigan changed water sources to river water, and it changed that, it eliminated that microscopic film.
Yeah, the corrosivity of the water increased as a result of the change to the river water system, because they had been using lake water up to that point, and when they changed their source of supply, it caused that that orthophosphate to be eaten away from the face of the pipe and expose the lead directly to the water in the pipe, and so it could leach out freely.
Now I know where you live, Dean, and I trying to like do quick math in my head. I think there's a chance your home may have lead lines. Is that you do?
Yep, I'm sure I do.
Have you ever
see the
changed
lead?
them?
Nope.
And you're a professional engineer qualified by the state of Indiana. Why haven't you done that? Aren't you worried?
So our water system, our water supply tests frequently for all these and meets the Safe Drinking Water Act requirement, which includes, there's a lead and copper rule that they did in the 80s that requires the water department to test the water at certain locations that they select that are known potential problems to ensure that lead is not leaching or copper is not leaching into the water supply, and they're required to publish those results every year in an annual report.
So you've never been worried, though?
Never worried about
Now,
it in the city.
what do you make of this federal government? And we're lucky. So here in the Midwest, anybody that lives close to Lake Michigan, we're lucky that we have this stable source of fresh water that's non-corrosive, that's not going to eat away at that layer. So we're sort of lucky even if we do have lead lines. Is that a safe assumption?
Well, as long as the water department continues to operate as they always have, and that is add the orthophosphate to the system to keep the protective coating. If ever you are in a situation where you are going to disturb your lead line, then you're going to want to replace it, right? If there's a leak and it needs to be repaired, that means that lead pipe is now exposed, and you'll want to replace that lead line if it's got a leak. Lead doesn't have a tendency to leak
because it's pliable, right?
Yeah, it's very pliable, so it's unlikely that it'll happen, but it's more likely to happen on galvanized pipes, which there are a few of those.
So basically, the federal government's mandate to switch out of lead lines is abundance of precaution, basically, and especially in the Midwest where we have this protective layer.
Particularly if water supply systems make changes without doing what we say due diligence, right? They could do sampling to determine what works best in their system, and I think in Flint, they missed it.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Ron? Thank you. Mark, you're adding that orthophosphate, right?
Oh, yes. That's why we've never failed a test. But I'd like to ask everybody here to, if you're contacted or your neighbors are contacted by our employees or the contractor that will be doing this job. We just received the bids last week. We'll be knocking on doors. We'll be putting out flyer door hangers. So it's all about, at no cost to you, replacing your line from the main all the way to your meter in your house. So if you would help us pass the word that this is all on the up and up, it'll make life easier for everybody.
And make sure that they're properly identified, Hammond Water Department employees with proper identification. Like, we would never have an employee not come to your door that didn't have identification with their picture on it. True? Water Department truck,
always,
too.
Yes, make sure you get an identification. All of our workers have identification, and they're in a marked truck.
And a marked Hammond Water Department truck. So that's a really good question to start off with. This is something we're going to be talking a lot about in the future. Hey, sir. Hold on 2 seconds. Well, let's let the microphone get to you. Microphone? Oh, there you go. Hi. Hi.
Based off that question, you're saying the lead pipes that go from the sanitary district to the homes, like they will be replaced?
The line, from the line in the street to your water meter, that will be replaced eventually if it's lead.
Do you have to make a request for that, or how does that work?
Mark?
Thank you.
No, you don't need to make a request now. In the next 12 months, everybody with a lead line in the city will receive notification from us that they have, or galvanized. We're also replacing galvanized lines. They're having issues with those also. So right now, the 150 homes are already identified, and they are being notified starting next week by us and the contractor. We have done a survey. We know 99% of the homes with lead pipes now, so no need to notify us.
Okay, thank you.
4740 Ash, right
Okay,
there.
yeah.
4740 Ash.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions on that? That was a great start on an important topic. We got one in the back corner. How you doing, sir? Thank you for coming. What a big crowd, by the way. Thank you, Second District. Good Mayor's Night Out crowd. Hi, sir.
All right, I thought I heard, but I just want to make sure there's no cost to the homeowner
No, sir.
for this replacement?
For the lead line replacement, if you have a lead line, eventually, this is not going to happen next week unless you're one of the 150 homes that's been identified. Eventually, Hammond Water Company is going to have to change all lead lines out.
Right. Where is the test program going right now? What area are you guys at?
This neighborhood, he said. Mark?
Yeah, it's generally 150 homes, already should have been notified by now, between Calumet, Columbia, Chicago, and 150th.
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Big topic. So thank you for bringing this up. Whoever's question that was, it's a really good question to start off with. I've been doing Mayor's Night Out a long time. This is the first discussion on lead lines we've had. So thank you very much. Great start. All right, let's move on. Oh, let me introduce the council members in attendance first. And then I know we have a presentation real quick that we're going to do. First off, I want to thank the council president here, Scott Reckos. Good to see you. I want to thank our host councilman, Al Salinas III. A retired Hammond councilman, it's Al's father, Al Salinas, former councilman in 2nd District. Good to see you, Al. Another retired councilman, Robert Markovich. Good to see you, councilman. Councilwoman at large, Katrina Alexander. Thank you very much, Katrina. Councilwoman at large, Janet Venez. Thank you very much, Janet. Councilman of the 1st District, Councilman Mark Kowinski. Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman of the 4th District, Councilman Bill Emerson. Councilman of the 5th District, Councilman Dave Warple. We have a quorum, but it's, Councilman Dan Spitali, Councilman at large. Thank you, council, for being here. We appreciate you. I'm looking around, making sure I didn't miss a school board member. All right. I do want to thank our interpreter for being here as well. She's in the back. We're not being mean by putting her in the back. I want to point out she's back there so that she could be on TV, okay? We normally have her up right by me, but it's easier for us to film her back there. So we're not being mean by putting her in the back of the room. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, I'm going to introduce real quick Chris Costa-Sacaleras, who's been running the Hammond Legal Aid Clinic for, I know we started early. It's been 20 years. Yes, 20 years we've been running a legal aid clinic in the city of Hammond. This legal aid clinic helps people, low-income individuals that need legal help. I got this idea when I went to law school at Notre Dame, and I actually worked in the legal aid clinic, and it sort of changed the trajectory of my career. And one of the first things I did was start the Hammond Legal Aid Clinic, and we find ourselves doing a lot of elder work. We find ourselves doing a lot of landlord-tenant. We find ourselves doing a lot of family law. That's really how we started off, and that was the bread and butter of the clinic. And it seems like we started to notice a trend of immigration-related issues, and obviously the demographics of our city, screamed out for the legal aid clinic to do even more. And we had an idea, and we knew a great attorney, Alfredo Estrada, and we wanted to expand the legal aid clinic's mission, and that's what I'm going to introduce Chris so she can explain what happened next. Chris, give it up for Chris Sacaleras, everybody.
So as the mayor said, in about 2020, with his encouragement, we started accepting immigration cases, and we partnered with Alfredo. You want to stand up, Alfredo Estrada? And also the rest of our staff is here tonight. Renee Ortega, one of our staff attorneys. Kristen Hill, another staff attorney. Stand up. Come on, thank you. And our paralegal, Griselda Bizarra. So in 2010, the census showed that our population in Hammond was about 34% Hispanic or Latino descent. And Mayor has always felt that the diversity of our city has been one of our greatest attributes. So he came to us and said, hey, how about we start this program? And we did. So fast forward 3 years, and the clinic has now accepted over 45 immigration cases. The legal process for these cases is very specialized. That's why we have Alfredo on with us, and often takes years to conclude. But tonight, the Legal Aid Clinic and Attorney Estrada, with the permission of our client, would like to share with you a feel-good story. So Sylvia, you want to come on up? Come on up. Come on up. Come on. Come on, all the way up. We want everybody to see you. Thank you.
Hi.
So Sylvia has been a resident of Hammond since 1998 and became a legal permanent resident of the United States in October of 2002. In late 2021, Sylvia applied for legal aid, and we approved her for the services. Sylvia wanted to become a United States citizen. On January 31st of 2024, again, these cases take a lot of time, Sylvia attended the naturalization interview and passed a U.S. civics and government test. She also was able to demonstrate that she's a person of good and moral character, and she was approved that day for citizenship. And finally, 2 weeks ago, on March 5th, 2024, Sylvia formally became a U.S. citizen at her naturalization oath ceremony in Chicago. So we want you all please to welcome our newest citizen, Sylvia Basara. Thank you.
I'm not going to go. Hi, congratulations. Thank you. Alfredo, Legal Aid Clinic, appreciate you guys for all you do. Literally thousands of clients that they've taken care of. We're highlighting one case that took 3 years, you know? And by the way, this is free for the individuals that qualify. And we've had thousands of clients, and the attorneys that work in the Legal Aid Clinic, they don't get paid top dollar like a lot of lawyers do. They do it because they're lovely people, quite frankly, and they help people. And a lot of people that go to law school, that's really what they're going for. A lot of people. There's some that go for other reasons, but these people that are working in the Legal Aid Clinic, can you please stand up one more time? Please? Come on, everybody. They're not doing it. Thank you, guys. All right. We got the feel-good story out of the way. Now let's move on. All right. Thank you, guys. That was awesome. We like to do a little presentation sometimes. Sometimes, like the police department or fire department has somebody they want to recognize. So today is Legal Aid Clinic, and thank you, Alfredo, for what you do in our clinic. So, all right, let's go ahead, move on to the next question. Again, questions are the generators that determine the length of the program. So, written questions, and we have Jessica over here, and we have Christy in the back. So, all right.
A resident on the 4300 block of Hickory Avenue has a concern regarding a neighbor with a hoarding issue. This has already been addressed with code enforcement, but they feel that it hasn't been handled at this time. Some photos were sent in, so I can definitely provide those.
I saw that was, okay. Who wants to grab, Kelly or Nick? Or, yeah, you know, I don't know about this situation personally, but I can tell you that everybody's entitled to due process. And you'll hear that term, and a lot of people don't know what due process means. What it means is you get your opportunity in court to be heard, opportunity in court to hire attorneys to protect you. So due process takes time. So even if it's obvious, due process still takes time. And we can't violate due process or else we get sued and we have to pay lots of money out. And it's not good for any of the residents of our city. So I'm guessing if it's as bad as what I'm hearing, and there's pictures to back up how bad it is, if I'm hearing this, I imagine Kelly and Nick know full about this because they know the problem properties. So let's see if that turns out to be true. 4300 Hickory.
I'm familiar with it back when I was a code enforcement commissioner.
So this is a long-term situation?
Yes, but we've been dealing with the situation on the outside of the premises. We've went as far as hired contractors to clean the backyard up and get that under control. My understanding is this situation is not on the interior of the house. I was in there probably 10 years ago, and it was a situation I was concerned, but
You're saying this situation today is about the interior?
that's my understanding, that if it's on the outside, we can get on that without a problem.
From what I understand, it's a pretty bad situation.
And typically in a situation, if we are to get in, is typically from a police call or an ambulance call.
Well-
Situation they can't get in.
Oh, I got you. To get into the house. But why don't we start with, well, first off, we will start with this. We'll start with the outside. We'll take the pictures. We'll follow this up tomorrow. So, and then is that your question, ma'am? I didn't know if you wanted to say something, anybody? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to, one of the things I don't like doing at Mayor's Night is talking about a single piece of property on Go Hammond TV. And we're like talking about how bad of a neighbor they are and how horrible their property is, because that's not fair to that property owner. As we've already identified the block, I'm sure it's pretty easy to nail down where this house is. So without getting in too much into this situation, I want to say thank you for the pictures and the very good description. We got your name and address, and we will follow it up, I promise you. I'm going to get a copy of this, and I'm going to find out with code enforcement what's going on with this situation, because the councilman told me this is something we definitely need to look into, and I trust the councilman. All right? So I don't know if we want to follow it up right now. I'm not trying to stop this conversation. This is a problem, and we're going to follow it up. So I hope I made that clear.
Yeah, if I can get the question
sure,
and the pictures, Mayor.
No, you will. Yeah, for sure. Do you got them, Eileen? Or yeah, you will for sure.
That may be what I need.
I want a copy of, a copy of the pictures. Get the originals to code enforcement, okay? Because I don't want them getting stuck on my desk.
Thank you.
Any follow-up from the audience on this issue? We get these issues. There's 25,000 residents, 25 different homes in the city of Hammond. And you get out of, even if it's 0.001% of 25,000, that's, quite a few homes where you're dealing with these types of issues. And, we have protocol that we follow. So, and it sucks. I'm sorry that you have to deal with this, and it's our job to help you out, and we will. Any follow-up on this? Thank you for turning it in. We'll do our job from here, I promise. And we do Mayor's Night 6 times a year. If for some reason you don't feel like it's being followed up, please come back to the next Mayor's Night and bring the same issue up again. It's funny, there was a situation at the last Mayor's Night, and I know for a fact there was people scrambling to make sure that if those people showed up again, we had a good answer to tell them. So Mayor's Night out works. That's why we do it. And if we're not doing our job, hold us accountable by showing up the next month, please. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that's a fact of life in government. Be squeaky, and you'll get greased. I don't know if that made sense, but all right, let's move on.
When is Gotham Street projected to be complete?
Good question. City Engineer, Dean Button. I know, and Councilman Al, you're on capital improvements, right? Which is great. By the way, capital improvements is, for a new councilman to volunteer for capital improvements, that shows, thank you, Al. But let me tell you something I know about capital improvements board. Very busy board. True?
Yes, sir.
It's probably, and he doesn't get paid any extra to be on capital improvements. They meet and they have to study issues, and they have about $50 million worth of jobs they want to do, and they get about $5 million to do it. And it's horribly tough to make those decisions. Councilman Al is one of those people that makes that decision. And by the way, the chairman of the board is the city engineer. So, Dean?
Yeah.
Goslin.
So we're well aware of the situation at Goslin. We have a project in design.
Could you summarize it for those that
It's
aren't
essentially complete. I assume we're talking about Goslin Street between Calumet and Columbia, right? So that's the street that's in poor condition, and we're aware of that.
We've been talking about that for a while.
We have been talking about that for a very long time.
Yeah.
We hired an engineering consultant to design reconstruction of that road, which includes curb, gutter, sidewalks, utility infrastructure. Jack Smith has said repeatedly how poor that sewer line is in condition, the condition that it's in. This is a $6 million project. We were getting about $8 million a year. Now we're down to about $5 million a year in capital improvements. So it would wipe out our entire budget. Projects like Summer Street is a $14 million project that's funded mostly through our Northwestern Indiana Regional Planning Commission and Federal Highway. So we have to match 20% of that fund, right? So that money has to be matched, and that's about 2.8 million.
So anyway,
So in the long run, we don't have the resources. So to complete this project at this time, we have a design on the shelf. We've contemplated breaking
for the
project.
total reconstruction, is there any like options that we could do, like top coat it until we're ready for that? I know that, you know, a lot of the councilmen were helping us with that last year. It's a Band-Aid approach, I understand, but.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly look at resurfacing that project. It's you know, you're probably looking at $300K to do that as a resurfacing, which is more money than we have.
As opposed to 8 million.
As opposed to 6 or 8 million. Yeah.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out we could break the project into phases, and
Right.
that's always complicated
Right.
because you're spending more money
Right.
to mobilize and
Right.
complete the work. So it's on our radar. We're going to try to find other ways to fund this project, but we do have competing interests throughout the whole city.
Thank you. It's weird when you go on one side of Gosselin and we're struggling to finance this, and then you go all the way to the other side of Gosselin and there's $200 million worth of work going on, and it's a complete renovation, complete rejuvenation of an entire neighborhood. So sort of a dichotomy. But that money over on the west side of the second district, over there on State Line and Gosselin, in that area over there, that money's being primarily paid for from the federal government. City of Hammond participated, but federal government's funding a large part of that project, and just in our city alone, there's probably over $200 million worth of work on that project alone. And I know that this is our backyard here in the second district, but there's a lot of people in Hammond that don't get a chance to drive around and see the kind of stuff that's going on right now. And if you haven't been to what we call the Gateway Station lately, take a drive over there. Do it on the weekend because it's real busy. It's amazing what they're doing to our city. It's amazing, and it's right here in the second district. By a large majority of the work's here, and the rest of it's going to be in the fourth district. So both of our district councilmen from those districts are here, and it's a windfall for us, and it's making a difference. Economic development will tell you. Downtown Hammond, $26 million condominium underway right now. They're going to be leasing out in months. We have a train station that's going to be, it's funded, it's designed. We can't start building it until the train rolls. This place is going to look a lot different. Downtown Hammond's going to look a lot different in 10 years than it does today, and a drastic difference to what it looked like 10 years ago. This is really, the second district is where the majority of our money is being spent right now. So congratulations. I told that to the new councilman when he came in, is you're coming in at the right time, Al. This is a booming district right now with economic development projects. So anyway, thanks for that question. The question was about Gosselin. I'm not sure if we answered it fully. And I guess to summarize Dean's answer, it's designed, it's expensive. We don't have enough money to do the full reconstruction right now, which is what it needs. I guess we have options to patch it, which is not lovely. That's sort of what they're grappling with right now. It's all about transparency. And we don't always give you the answer you want to hear. I apologize, but I think it's better that it's honest. So, all right, let's move on to the next question.
Question and comment. By closing the fastest route over the train tracks, the proposed Governor's Parkway and bridge in Hessville will increase time for emergency response. Doesn't that endanger lives?
Okay. I'm not an expert on emergency response, but I'm going to defer to Bernie. Bernie, it seems to me the Governor's Parkway, I guess if you're talking about like response to Hess School, for instance, Governor's Parkway is a lifesaver for students in Hess School in that part of our city with response times. I'm trying to figure out how Governor's Parkway would make our response times worse.
I agree 100% with you, Mayor. Response time is a priority for the Hammond Fire Department. We are a combination fire department of fire service and emergency service. We try to respond within 4 minutes on scene, and it is very important. So
Can you respond to 4 minutes in all parts of the city?
Yes.
Can you respond to all parts of the city in 4 minutes if there's a train, like in Hessville?
Absolutely not. We could probably double time to 8 minutes, even 12 minutes, depending on the region.
So you guys are over there in Station 8, and there's a call, and it's an emergency call, Hess School. Emergency, we need you here now, fire department. And there's a stop train in Hessville. What's your route to get to that school?
It just depends, like I said, the first responding route, and if we're already responding from another call, but we're going to have to make arrangements, reroute Client Avenue, 8094, depends which incoming rigs are coming in the emergency. It could double the response by 8 minutes, even 12 minutes, depending on traffic and construction, which is very common today on all expressways.
I understand there's people that don't want this project to happen. Governor's Parkway. This is in Hessville. There's people that don't want that to happen. I understand there's probably a couple in the audience that don't want this to happen. But to say that Governor's Parkway is going to make our response times worse is ludicrous. It's insane. That doesn't make sense at all to me. I'm going to go to the guy with 32 years experience. I'm going to talk to the firefighter. Hi, Jeff, in the back. 32 years experience, Hammond firefighter. I'm not a firefighter, but to me it makes sense if there's a stop train in Hessville and we have a route over the stop train. It makes sense to me that that's going to make our response times better.
Not at all. I don't know where that came from, but.
Not at all what?
It's the response times will decrease for sure if the overpass is there.
For sure. How many times, have you never worked Station 8?
Yeah, for years I did.
You worked Station 8. How many times did you have to reroute around 8094 because of a stop train?
At least twice a day during the course of a day. I mean, every shift has trains go through there every day.
So what would your response times be to get to parts of Hessville?
Like the deputy said, it would double it for sure. At least double it. It would be even more.
So if we built that bridge, Station 8 would have direct access to all parts of Hessville, right?
Nothing would stop us then because there's nothing impeding our travel.
Okay. Let me talk to the police department, because I'm not a police officer either. But I have a feeling that the police department runs into the same problem. Chief?
Yes,
if
we
you
do.
guys work for me, everybody's going to be like, those guys work for him. They're lying.
I haven't worked for you my whole career.
This is true.
And and I can honestly say that when you hear an open mic of somebody's begging for assistance and you can't get to them because the trains has blocked all the streets. I think it was, Tom, you've been around Greenbrier, when we couldn't get to him, and you can hear the lady screaming in the background because of open mic. We had to go all the way across to Klein Avenue to get to that person. Time is of essence. So I don't
do you think that the Governor's Parkway Bridge is going to make your response times worse?
No. It should help us.
All right. I didn't think so. All right, Ken. Hi, Ken. It's your question, right?
Yeah, it was my question.
Thanks.
Of course you know.
I had a feeling.
Well, the thing
It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. And by the way, thank you for going to all the council meetings. I appreciate it. Honestly, it sounds silly to say that because you go there and you bang on me. But I told you and your supporters, it shows me that you guys give a shit. Excuse me. They care about our community.
We care.
Okay? I apologize about that.
And we care about the safety.
I know you do. I know you do. And so I never think you're coming from a bad place. I never do.
Okay.
Okay? I don't always love what you're saying, but I never think you're coming from a bad place. I think you care about Hessville.
I love you too, Mayor.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Navy guy. We're two Navy guys. We shouldn't be arguing like this.
We're both submariners.
I know.
Yeah.
So, thank you for your service.
The thing is that when you
Submariners are
when you're
pains in the
talking
asses,
about
aren't
a
they?
particular situation,
Yeah.
you have to look at it a little bit more in detail. Right now, the fastest route across the tracks is Parrish Avenue. You guys are closing Parrish Avenue. You are creating a detour that will take about 30 seconds. Parrish Avenue is open approximately 97% of the time. So 97% of the time, you are going to increase the response time for anybody going across the tracks.
Okay. Dean, you got anything to say to that?
So we did a traffic study of
This
actually.
Dean is our city engineer, licensed by the state of Indiana. It's professional engineer is a hard certification to get. We're lucky enough at Hammond to have a professional engineer that lives in the city of Hammond and works for us. So usually when it comes to stuff like this, I defer to the experts.
We hired a company to do a fire station siting study because we were looking to find a new fire station, and they evaluated the entire city, not just the area that we needed the new station. And the subject came up, what does this do to response time in the area where my colleague Mark Gordish lives, right? I mean, this is Hess School area, Montana, that 7700 block or whatever. And I don't mean to disagree with either of the chiefs, but if there was a block train at the time, it was going to take 20 minutes to get from Station 8 on Klein Avenue to the furthest resident. By adding the bridge, we were going to meet the positive response time required by the fire department. We were going to increase that to help residents, like 10% of the population of the city of Hammond.
Right.
So we know that was going to be quicker. The issue of closing Parrish was related to building this bridge, right?
Right.
We We said in order to get money from the railroad, right, as part of their contribution, we were going to give up 1 and now 2 crossings to be able to accomplish that. I don't believe that there's a significant increase in time because Station 8 would go down Parish Avenue, and then it would turn onto Governor's Parkway naturally rather than go up. And so you would just continue down, and I don't see the response time increasing any more than a few seconds.
Okay. So this is a difference of opinion. You know, one of the things I think you could take from watching what goes on in Washington, D.C. is it's hard to get a big group of people to agree on anything. So you got to start like breaking it down into percentages and majorities and stuff like that. Because my job is to do the right thing for the majority of residents. And I've been around for a while because I try to do the right thing for the residents. So I polled the residents of Hessville on this issue twice. 2 separate polls. They both turned out about the same way. All right? We are getting a bridge that will solve the problem of stop trains in Hessville. Majority of it's going to be paid for by the federal government and by the state government. This is a good deal for the city. It does have an environmental impact. I appreciate Ken, and Ken's got people, a lot of people that believe in him and believe in what he's pushing, and I acknowledge that. This is not one of those issues where I'm going to make a decision and 100% of Hammond's going to be like, great job, Mayor. I'm going to have people that are pissed. That's being mayor. You got to make decisions knowing full well some people are going to be happy, some people are going to be pissed, and hopefully more people are happy than pissed. That's my job in a nutshell. I respect Ken. I appreciate Ken. I appreciate him, and I'm sure he's going to keep going to meetings, and I'm sure I'll see him in the future because he cares about our city. I'm trying to do the right thing. I love the trees too. I love environment, man. I go outside all the time, so this is not an easy one. And funny enough, the train situation in Hessville has gotten significantly better since everything blew up, and they were making national news in Hammond, and so anyway, thank you for that. I don't know if anybody has follow-up to Governor's Parkway. Hi. Hold on, microphone. There you go. Thanks, sir.
I just want to say I respect. I just want to say I respect the fact that you take on those questions and don't avoid them, because a lot of people will avoid those type of questions, and I respect the fact that you do that. So thank you.
Thank you. We're pulling Ken over on the way home, though, after Mayor's Night, though. Don't get me wrong. The guy's going down for this, but I'm just messing, Ken. So thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Anybody else? Questions? Thank you, Ken. And Ken points out this will have a negative impact on a part of Hessville he cares about. That's why he's here. And I'd be here if I was in a similar situation. So thank you. All right, let's move on.
A concern that has made it to Mayor's Night Out before, Bering Parkway 7200 block.
Yes.
Concerns with speed bumps, and a new concern regarding people fornicating. More PD presence requested. On the Parkway.
Oh, you can't hear me? Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad that one wasn't on Go Hammond.
It's been a while, Mayor. I know it's been like a year and a half I've been here about this issue. No, about the speed bumps. But 2 weeks ago.
Give me a block, and it's Bering. What block?
Parkway.
No, which block? 7200. Okay.
72, yes.
Yes, ma'am. I know what you're talking about.
And 2 weeks ago, there was a guy in front of my house. We pay, more taxes to live on Bering Parkway. Okay, we paid more for our houses. Okay, there was a guy who was like, I thought he was dead on the Parkway. Okay, he wasn't moving.
Yeah,
okay, he was dead. Okay, I thought he was dead. Okay, I called 911. They told me to go out there and see if he was okay. Okay, I said, okay.
Right.
I said, I'm not doing it, all right?
Gotcha.
Get your dumb little butts over here and do it.
You know,
all right?
911 is run by the county government, not by the city of Hammond. No, I know. I know you don't. But I just want to point that out.
Okay, all right. So
if they're rude to Hammond residents, I can't control that. It's
well, okay,
unfortunate.
but that's,
I know, it's dumb.
That's not my job. Okay, it took him 10 minutes. The guy, I don't know if he was okay. Could he have been having a stroke? I don't know. Okay, took him 10 minutes. No sirens, no nothing. Okay, got rid of him. All right. Then the next day, okay, that's when they were fornicating in the Parkway, and they said it was illegal, that they could do whatever they damn wanted to do in the Parkway. Okay, I'm like, oh, no.
I'm pretty sure that's against city ordinance.
What?
I'm pretty sure that's against city ordinance. I don't think that's legal.
Right. Well, I called Councilman Warple, and he said, no, that's not true. Okay. So I want something to be done about it. I mean, it's crazy. Is Warple here today?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, hi, Warfel. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Councilman. Okay. Hey, Chief. I'm right on that. That is against city ordinance for sure. And state law.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This is the first I've heard of it. I know that's not legal. I have my captain of patrol here. Could you make sure he gets that note?
7200 bearing. We will
7200
make
bearing.
sure that the captain, the PD,
Yes.
captain patrol gets that.
Yeah, we'll do whatever we can to stop fornicating and speeding.
Yeah.
7200 block of Berry.
Yeah. No. Nope. Yeah. He was wrong. It's not. Who said that? 911? Yeah. Yeah.
Captain Bonner, is this the first time you heard of this? Can we take care of this? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Speed bumps. This is touchy. This is a touchy issue.
I know that, but.
I say this every time we talk about
No,
this.
I know that, but okay, but when I did this a year and a half ago.
I missed you. You should have been coming to more mayor's
me
night.
too, yeah. Anyway, so you put the speed limits 25 miles. It was 15. That was like a slap in the face. Yeah, you upped the speed limit.
We didn't up-
We
we
have no
didn't-
sidewalks, okay?
No, I agree. You live-
People
I
who
live-
have to walk, they walk in
No,
the
ma'am.
street.
Like, I live on the same type.
Excuse me, I was talking, yeah,
I'm
anyway,
sorry.
what, I'm sorry.
I live on the same type of street you do.
I'm
and
sorry, what? I can't-
I live on the same type of street you do.
Right.
And it's 25 for us also.
No, you upped it. You didn't know it was.
We didn't, first off, if they put up a sign, Okay, hold on. Pump the brakes. Could I answer? Okay. I did not up it, first off. I personally upped the speed limit in your neighborhood. Did I personally up your? You know, what happened was they probably put up a sign that I had nothing to do with. Somebody put a sign up that has nothing to do with. Okay.
But it's 25 miles an hour now.
Yeah.
They're going
Hold
80
on.
miles
Hold
an
on.
hour.
Could you say that in the microphone so I could stop getting yelled at?
So we reviewed the Hammond City ordinance, and the speed limit in the ordinance says.
When you say we, who's we? Does it include me?
It does not include.
Was I
you.
part of this decision-making
You
at all?
had no knowledge of any change of a speed limit
Like if
sign
Dean told
for
me, the city engineer said, Mayor, we're going to have an important meeting about speed limit on the 7200 block of Bering, I would have said, you could have this meeting without the mayor.
True.
Because there's certain things I can't be part of.
True.
So like when meetings like this happen, I was just correcting, I had nothing to do with that. But I'm the mayor, so I am the collective we up here. But it makes sense that your block is just like my block and the speed limit's the same. It's 25 on my block.
It was ma'am, it was posted as 15, but it was not legally ordained in the city ordinance to be 15 miles an hour. So we rolled it back to the 25
Okay, we
miles
got
an
my
hour
phone.
that was required.
So
in
hold
the
on.
city. It
So
was
hold
not
on,
in
Dean.
the
Hold
city.
on. Kevin, what happens if it's 15 on the sign, 25 in the ordinance, and one of our police officers enforces the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit? How screwed up do things get?
You'd have a guy like Alfredo Estrada enter his appearance and try to tell me I couldn't enforce that.
And he would sue the city of Hammond because it may say 15 on the street, but the city ordinance says 25. Thank you.
Don't get one.
So I don't have a vendetta against you. I didn't be like, let's change the speed limit on that street. They just, sounds like there was a meeting and they just put a sign up to reflect what the city ordinance said. Okay, all right.
What about, so we're not going to catch these weirdos that are going, 80 miles an hour down there?
I would
Because
like
we
to,
have,
yeah.
we have
Oh, I have
people-
the same problem.
Kids are playing in the parkway, balls go in the street.
All right.
They don't care, okay?
Okay.
They go really fast. I know
Yeah.
you're just like, you don't really care.
No, I mean, you're like yelling. I feel like I'm getting yelled at. I feel like
I don't know what it's like on Knickerbocker, but.
they fly down my street too, believe me.
Pleasure is to have-
Yeah, I know. People are jerks. People act like jerks.
Why aren't we having something done about it?
What am I supposed to do? Like, okay, nobody can drive faster than 25 on Barron anymore.
Speed bumps.
Please do.
Are
Well,
we having speed bumps put in or any of those?
all right. Well, I'm not going to. Thank you. All right. Thank you. I appreciate the question. No. Police presence, yeah, and signs and. All right. I appreciate it. I think you made your point. Nice talking to you. All right.
We did a speed study.
All right. Let's move on. It was nice talking to you, ma'am. Yeah, missed you. Year and a half, damn. All right, let's move on.
How are the ARP funds received by the City of Hammond in 2019 being allocated amongst the districts in Hammond? How much of the allocation in funds still exists?
Not much. We got $50 million basically. We had 2 different rounds where we allocated the money. This was, I think we did round 2 with you on the council. Al, is that true? Was round 2 come through, or was it already done by the time you got there? It was already done? Okay. So yeah, by the time Councilman Al, and he's been on the council now for 3 months, by the time he got on, it was already allocated. But it was distributed, it was negotiated. There was a lot of back and forth between the council and the mayor and the district councilman and the at-large councilman, and it came up. We had projects that were funded, and many of them are already underway. So I'm not sure who asked that question, but if you have something more particular. Hi, how you doing, sir? Hold on. None. I don't think there's hardly any. Yeah, we got, but like it's accounted for though.
Yeah, so we actually had ARP 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. And so we just did 3.0 last year. There's very little money left, I would say under 10%. And what we've been doing is, as you all know, prices have gone up for everything, right? We all know that. So the same thing happened because the first ARP hit before a lot of prices went up, and then prices went up. So some of the money that we had in the kind of quote unquote in the bank has been used for overages too. So, but I can tell you, and the mayor has pointed this out when the ordinances went through to the council, every district has projects.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's move on.
What steps has the city taken or has plans to take regarding energy rate hikes and any programs providing assistance for residents?
Energy rate hikes, like NIPSCO? Or,
It doesn't specify.
somebody want to follow that up? Hi, how you doing, sir? Nice. Thank you for the question.
My question is, what steps is the city taking to provide clean energy assistance regarding public subsidies, programs for low to moderate income
You mean for
clients?
like, if you want to put solar on your roof or something like that?
Solar incentives, weatherization incentives?
There's not a lot, believe it or not, because I was looking into that for my house, and there's nothing locally that the city offers that I could think of. But you would have to go to like a NIPSCO for solar, and they have some type of programs, but they're not as lucrative as you'd think. It's sad, sort of. But, you know, the city of Hammond, we've done things on our side of the fence to make us more energy efficient, but we don't really have programs to offer citizens to help them convert to energy efficient because we really don't have the revenue for that.
So has the city looked into government grants, government subsidies, ARA assistance? I mean, the administration just released billions of dollars of clean energy funding.
Right, yeah. I mean, we haven't ourselves, but I mean, I haven't really heard about this until now. But I do know that there's these funds available, but they typically don't. I'm not sure. Awana? Awana, have you heard anything about this, Awana? Awana is in charge of community development. She runs a CDBG budget. A lot of federal programs go through Awana's department, so.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything like this, but I can investigate to see if there's something out there that we can take advantage of.
Be open to someone like myself providing opportunity or education or information to the city as far as assistance? I mean, to bring programs to our local citizens?
If you can bring money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then talk to us, sure. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we're open.
So she's
we're
the
all
one.
ears. Oh, yeah, no, Awana is in charge of, her department could definitely hear you out, and we work with a lot of organizations like this, so yeah. I mean, if you have a way to get federal programs to our citizens easier, we're all ears.
Absolutely,
Thank you. And we have done things on our side of the fence to make us more energy efficient. We converted our fleet over. We do a lot of things like that. The entire police department's running off propane right now, things like that. So we've done some good things, and we're still going to do more. I know Hammond Sanitary District's talking about some ways to make their footprint less. So,
thank you.
Yeah, good point. All right.
A resident would like to know why Oak Avenue near the school has no streetlights. The street is very dark. What can be done about this? How can we keep our kids and community safe?
This is what you do, what you just did. You wrote down Oak Avenue, the block that you have a problem. It's going to go into my office. It's going to go to the engineer. It's going to go to the council people, and we're going to have that note you just made on our desk saying Oak Avenue and this block needs lighting. That's how it happens. That's what you do. And if people like Al and I get together, and if we hear enough about these types of complaints, we do things about it. But keep in mind, we have limited sources of income to pay for these types of things. So, the more people that are, complaining about lack of lighting on that block, the more likely it is that we're going to find the money and get it done, because it's a higher priority then. So, follow up on that? I love lighting projects. I know your council people love lighting projects. Everybody loves lighting projects. I wish the whole city was like that right now. So it's going to take time. Just like the lead line replacement, this is going to be a block by block kind of project. So.
This next comment doesn't specify what school it may be affecting,
Okay.
but there is, it does say driver speeding on school streets. There are no posted school zone signs with speed limits. Would like to see some speed bumps.
Thanks.
We have almost been hit several times with children.
Damn, bumps.
Crossing guards have been injured. We would like to see more police presence during dismissal.
Okay, Councilman Al told me he's getting complaints about this school, so I'm going to assume that's talking about Irving School. I want to go to Captain Strabavi in a second so that he can talk about what they do on community policing. But I know the last lady left, and I apologize if I was rude to her. I don't know. But the thing about speed bumps is if we put one speed bump on a residential street, we don't right now. Okay, we put a bump on a residential street, then there's gonna be a bump in another district, and then there's gonna be 2 more bumps in another district, and then in every dang block in the city of Hammond, there's gonna be a speed bump. That's the fear, okay? I realize other communities are putting speed bumps on residential streets, but that's the fear. We have people that plow streets during heavy snowstorms and things like that, and speed bumps are a terror for them. And by the way, when it snows, and I know it hasn't snowed much recently, but when it snows, we're literally getting yelled at to clear the streets. And if I'm getting yelled at, I'm yelling at my bosses are yelling at the drivers, everybody's getting yelled at, everybody's stressed, and then there's speed bumps everywhere in the city of Hammond under this proposal. And it slows everything down. Our plows are gonna hit it and break their plows. So we haven't done it. We haven't done it to this point, and quite frankly, once that genie is out of the bottle, they're gonna be everywhere. So I know that lady feels strongly about speed bumps, okay? But this is, no, thank you, sir, I appreciate it. Yeah, right, so anyway, this is one of those issues I'm gonna get ran out of town for one way or the other, so. All right. Oh, hi.
That
Thanks.
was my question there.
Thank you, sir.
The problem is,
Was that correct? Was it around here?
it's Irving.
Good.
There's no school signs, anything, except for on Chicago Avenue. And there's no school posting saying there's a school on these side streets. People speed up and down these streets all day long. If a kindergartner gets hit going by it, going across the street,
Yes, sir.
we're being proactive instead of reactive.
Great.
So there's a cop that sits down here underneath the bridge every morning, pulling over cars, every morning.
Yeah.
At least 10 cars.
Right.
My thing is, why can't we have a cop out here? I
Gotcha.
spoke to Lieutenant last time about
Mhm.
this issue. Why can't we have a cop out here when the kids get out of school at
Gotcha.
2:20 or 3:20 and just have them sit out there with the lights on?
Well, I got good news for you, bud. What's your name?
Brandon.
Huh?
Brandon.
Brandon. You're talking to the chief of police,
Mhm.
the captain of patrol, the captain of community affairs right now. And that's higher than a lieutenant. And lieutenants are important, okay? But you're at mayor's night out, you're eloquently stating a problem, and people are listening to you, okay? This is how you do it, all right? And I appreciate what you're doing right now, because we're gonna try to fix it, okay? But this is how you do it, because I can't be everywhere in the city of Hammond at all times, and we try our best, but this is how we get it done. So I appreciate you being here. Chief, you want to say, and I want Captain Sarabi to say something also, Chief.
I know you used to have Pete Moore. He was a guy that was always here writing a whole lot of tickets for you guys over here. He just recently retired. I believe Lieutenant Kelly Mickey's taking over this area here. And if she is, I'm sure she'll get on it for you. Our guys writes about, I think as of right now, we wrote over 11,000 tickets, pretty close to 11,000 tickets. But I guarantee you after today, you will see more of a police presence in this area, okay?
Thank you. Captain Tom Strabavi is He's in charge of community affairs. Community affairs, one of the things we've been tasking them with lately is getting into the schools and helping with things like that you're talking about. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well, boss.
Thank you.
Between community affairs now doing the after-school patrols and the morning patrols, Lieutenant Mickey, and between the Henry Unit program that we have, the overtime cars, there'll be somebody here.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen, this is important. This is an important school. It's an important part of the city. I appreciate you being here, okay? So, thank you. Hey, Ken, how's it going?
Mayor, I think the confusion is, as far as speed bumps go, is that, I lived over 10 years ago in Chicago, and they have speed bumps on the streets that I lived, and they really, really helped, okay? Now, I think people are having this vision that a speed bump is this little thing that somebody just put a strip of asphalt across the street. In Chicago, and I'm not, everybody's against Chicago, but I'm saying it works.
I like Chicago.
It's more of a speed hump.
I know what you're talking
And
about.
the plows slide right over them, and but if anybody tries to drive fast over them, they're going to bottom out. And so it's really a good situation.
I appreciate that. Dean? It's pretty rational.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an alternative to traffic calming using speed humps, and we've looked at that as on occasion. It's not, it's not just plows, right? It's emergency response as well, right? I mean, we had a situation where someone wanted a speed bump on Highland Street because people are driving too fast, and it was objected by PD because it could be worse if they were chasing a criminal, right? It could make things worse, right? It's also difficult for ambulances to go over, right? And it slows their response time down, right? Essentially. So
Let me ask them. What do you guys think? You pro or anti-speed bump, chiefs? Put you on the spot.
Anti.
I'm anti also.
Really? That's crazy. Is that why? Because of the response?
Yes.
Really?
Response, and also that I believe it was Bunner. You had something a few years back when somebody went over the hump over there by I believe that's the 400 block. What's that? Conkey Street, when the guy lost control going too fast just over a small hump, and he ended up hitting a gas meter.
Huh. Okay. What about you, Bernie? Same thing?
I agree, especially in ambulance, like a lot of times emergency situation, we're trying to get there as quick as we can. Structure fire, entrapment, CPR in progress. It depends. I mean, I agree. Some areas, possibly a school, I can see it happening, but for the most part, across the city, Mayor, our response time and the emergency situation we're in, we're going to at least 20, 25 over the speed limit, trying to get there as quick as we can.
You come fire chief and I'm asking all these tough questions about speed bumps and all that?
Yes.
You didn't see that coming.
No, it's okay. We're ready for it all, Mayor.
I appreciate this conversation. It's interesting because when you're talking about when you're close to a school, I think that's something that should be considered. So I think when you're mayor, you should constantly be learning. I think this is something I should be open-minded on. So I appreciate the conversation. Okay? All right. I promise to be open-minded on this issue. And unfortunately, we lost one person already. So hopefully she watches the video later on. So, all right. I apologize. Sometimes I come off as rude, and sometimes I am rude. My wife tells me the same thing. I think there's ways to conduct business in public, and one of the things I'm proud of in Hammond is we always have really civil meetings. We try to have civil meetings, and I just don't want to devolve into what goes on in Washington, D.C. So I apologize. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Where are we going? Hi. What? Wow, that was quick. Okay. All right. I know we have things that we need to tell the public, right? So who's got announcements up here? Hi. Hey, Juana.
May 2nd is our annual prayer breakfast, the National Day of Prayer at the Dynasty, 8 a.m. I have tickets here free of charge, so please come and see me if you would like one or two.
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, so Councilman Salinas, thank you very much for mentioning. We do have an open survey online. The question about the Irving School and the concerns that you have about potential crashes, that might be a good source to add to that, because that'll go into our database to look at what areas to improve. We have a Safe Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that we're working on to do action plan, and that survey is included. So we'll make sure you can get an access to that on our website, because we looked earlier and it wasn't there. It was in your water bill with a QR code, but we'll try to make sure that folks get an opportunity to fill that survey out.
Thanks, Dean. Hey, Alex. Hi, sir.
Yeah, I was one that brought up about the water, but I forgot about one more other thing, and the lady
Sure.
brought it up, reminded me. Okay, I know you live on Knickerbocker, and I live very close to Bering Parkway.
Uh-huh.
And a few years back, I used to complain to the police officers that live in that area about, the cars being parked on the parkway.
Yeah.
Then finally, they put up no parking signs.
Yes, sir.
Now they're parking on the parkway still, and, you're going down that road.
Yes,
and
sir. Agreed.
I'm not a fan of the speed bumps at all, but what I'm a fan of is you're afraid because the kids are running in between them
Agree with you,
cars.
sir. So I agree. I've lived on a parkway for 3 or 4 decades, all right? You're not supposed to park on the parkway side. Sometimes people have parties and it overflows, and sometimes, like, if it's like one day they have a big party, it's a graduation party, you're not gonna call the police or code enforcement, but you should not ever park on the parkway side, especially on a regular basis. And if they are doing that, sir, you need to call the cops. And
It's not, okay, and I agree with you. If they get a permit or whatever to have a party or whatever,
Right.
but it's a constant thing all
yes,
the time.
nope,
Okay?
agree with you.
know,
You gotta
I
call
mean,
in on that.
Well, you can't call constantly because then you're just, you're creating, they're not going to respond. But, I mean, there
Hey,
is a
you guys
problem with
handling
the
that
kids
still?
being running across that street because you got parking on one side and then you got the parkway on the other. That's
Tom,
all.
could you help me out with this, Captain? Sir?
It doesn't matter how many times you call. You call, we'll be there.
Okay.
Okay. Cap, we'll coordinate.
Agree with you, sir.
Well, the citation should be giving them the point.
Yep.
Once we obtain plate information, we can knock on doors and issue tickets. But myself and Captain Butter coordinate, and we'll get that problem worked on.
Thank you, guys. Hey, we work for you, bud. We work for you, sir. We try our best to make everybody happy, and they're breaking the law. So please call us. Don't be shy about calling the cops. If somebody's breaking the law in your neighborhood, call the cops. All right? And nowadays, you got to call 911. It's ridiculous, but that's what we do. We grew up being told only dial 911 in an emergency. Now, if there's a cat stuck in a tree, you call 911. You call 911 for everything. Somebody's parking illegally, you call 911. It's the truth. Chief, right?
It's true. Absolutely.
Cat stuck in the tree, call 911. Somebody parking illegally, you call 911. That's crazy. They're like contradicting everything we learned. But last but not least, I was mentioning there's a lot of work going on right now in the 2nd District in downtown Hammond, and something happened recently that's going to give us the ability to, a food and beverage bill was introduced in the House and the Senate, passed both, and it was signed into law by the governor. So the Hammond Council and the mayor are going to be talking about a way where we'd have $20 million of additional development and paid mostly by tourists and people that go out to dinner. So it would be on a $100 bill, it would be a $1 extra charge if it's passed by the Hammond Council and signed by the mayor. So that's something you'll be hearing about shortly. What's that?
We got one thing, Mayor.
Oh,
Code
hey.
enforcement. Just a reminder to landlords that
Thank you, Nick.
the date, April 15th, is the last day to register your rentals for the regular rate of $5. Afterwards, it'd be a $500 late fee. There are new forms, and they're available at gohammond.com. Make sure you can print one out there and fill it out and get it to us by April 15th.
Thank you, Nick. That's Nick. He's the head of Hammond Code Enforcement. Rental registrations are due. Felix, how's it going?
How you doing, Mayor? Also, just a reminder, leaf pickup season starts April 15th, and it will be picked up in the Parkway on your regularly scheduled garbage day.
Thank you. By the way, an experience I had, Marissa and I got new carpeting in the house, so we had a bunch of garbage that we put out. We put it out over the weekend. I put it out on a Sunday night. I went to Hammond 311, our app. I put it in through 311 anonymously. The very next day it was picked up. These things work, guys. You don't have to always call it in anymore. For those of you that are more tech savvy, download that app. It puts you to the front of the line when you have situations like that arise. So, Jack, did you have something? No. Okay. All right. Nicole, hey. Nicole's the head of the Lost Bars Golf Course. This is
which
always
is
a happy
opening
announcement.
April 1st, by the way. And
That's
we
no
are-
fooling.
We are looking for part-time seasonal workers throughout the Port Authority. So there's flyers on the table, lifeguards, there's so many different positions, maintenance workers, splash pad. So if you could grab one of those flyers and please have people apply. It's
How much are the
perfect.
lifeguards making now?
I don't know.
Remember?
Close to probably $14 an hour. Close.
$14 an
Close.
hour.
To sit out in the sun.
Yeah.
To get a tan, Mayor.
Do you have a son or a daughter that's a good swimmer? They could work and make $15 an hour, basically. They work at the Hammond Marina and get a suntan. Help us out. We're trying to keep the beaches open. We can't do it without lifeguards. Help us out. Sorry, Kevin.
Mayor, definitely.
I'm really excited about
You're
this.
excited about that. You're right, though, because as we get towards the end of summer, a lot of the college kids go back to school.
Yes.
We're down to maybe 2 days at the end of August.
And I do not want to see you in a Speedo again this year in Milan. So that is way
Mayor,
too
only
much.
if you're in yours.
All right. Thank you, Mylan. Thank you, Nicole. Lost Marsh opens on April Fool's Day? April 1st, yes. April 1st. Thank you, 2nd District, for a great meeting. It was energetic. It was lively. People left angry. It was a really good meeting, so we did great. I appreciate you all. Next Mayor's Night Out is going to be in the 3rd District. It's going to be at the Hammond Sportsplex on May 15th. God bless you all. Safe travels. Happy Easter. Thank you for coming to Mayor's Night Out.